I'm here with Monty Hong, the CIO of Telkomsel. Monty, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
So along with many other operators around the world, you've got to a stage where you're looking at how to move into a new generation of business cases as well as services. How is Telkomsel approaching the monetization of data?
Well, clearly we live, and Telkomsel operates in a very hyper-growth, prepaid world, microtransaction, microservices. So for us, it's still to continue to engage with our customers, right? As they transition off of voice and SMS to mobile broadband products, consumption of data, OTT applications. We're continuing to engage with them of how to look at the opportunities of using that data for everyday life, whether that be with our services or with other third parties that we've worked at. But we're also getting into their digital lifestyles around video, gaming, mobile money, and music.
Okay. So to get to that point, to engage with the customers in that way, do you have a specific digital transformation strategy?
Yeah, I mean, effectively, we want to be the gateway to the digital world for Indonesians, right? So we have looked at, what that takes to do in terms of we still have a lot of our, kind of what we call our business as usual type of aspects around voice and SMS and data, but also what does it mean in terms of, how we become even more analytic driven, more data driven, right? How we understand not just the phone number of a customer, but the persona of the customers themselves. And then how do we understand, what their buyer behavior patterns are? What do they interact with? What do they like? And becoming a broader part of that ecosystem, which I think really moves us beyond just the telco play, more into a true digital service provider play.
Okay. So as you make this transition, what have been the main challenges in, I guess, moving from a telco to be a digital service provider?
Well, first of all, you have to be relevant with the customers, right? You've got to have enough of the use cases. You got to have enough of the things that because we're not competing against the other telcos, right? We compete against the ride-hailing applications. We compete against the banks. We compete against the retail sector, where people of their everyday lives are engaging with them. So I think the first one is being relevant, having the right use cases, the right value proposition. I think the other big kind of challenge that we have is just the human capital it takes to do this, right?
Right.
I mean, pretty much everybody, not just the telcos, but everybody in the technology sector around the world is scrambling for resources. Key people with digital technologies, cloud native, analytics, data scientists. And in Indonesia, it's made even harder because it's even a greater scarcity for those resources.
Okay. So this isn't something you're just talking about. This is something you're actually doing already. Can you give us maybe an example of where your transformation has borne fruit, where you've had success?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done is we've looked at creating greater agility to our northbound channels, to our mobile apps, our video platform, our gaming platform, by adopting the TM Forum's open API standards, right?
Okay.
To allow us to have a microservices architecture that basically mirrors how the general public does with that, right? That has allowed us to be quicker to market with our video platform that allows us now to monetize the interactions we have with the customers on that into the digital ad space to become more relevant. Our Tcash application is in the top tier in the Indonesian market, right? We've done that through a combination of the use cases we have, the technology that we've delivered, and the ability to effectively get to a whole new part of the industry segment around mobile finance. So it's not just talking about we've developed the underlying technologies for that, but we've also changed the organizational focus and the human capital side of our business.
Okay. One of the key technology partners you've had in this transformation has been Huawei. How are you working with that company? What have they done with you to enable this move towards digital?
Yeah, Huawei is one of our strategic partners, right? They operate a huge part, they build and operate a huge part of our network. They're helping us with the transition, across the 2G, 3G, 4G spectrum. They're working with us on what's the strategy for 5G. On the network side, they're doing a tremendous amount. In IT, they've also been more engaged with us. They're running our underlying mobile finance platform, and they're very big into our mobile broadband platform. So most recently, we've moved into their next generation of PCRF, a project we called our volume-based offload, where we've been able to take the data charging, policy management, the ability for us to monetize more of the customer interactions off of our traditional BSS application onto their next generation PCRF platform. So in that case, we've moved that online charging, that real-time monetization capability very close to the edge.
Okay. So this is something you're doing now, still obviously in a 4G world. But how does this play in terms of your medium and longer term strategy as we move towards 5G?
Well, I think it was a critical part. I mean, IT in many ways needs to continue to work with our network. They can understand where our evolution of 5G will be. A lot of that's driven by the network teams, but from an IT perspective, our movement to the next generation PCRF was extremely important because that now connects us right up to the edge. So as that edge changes the network, we become more of the 5G network and things like that. We've already made the underlying changes within IT, right? Within IT, we've developed, as I said, our digital core architecture, which is open API, container-based microservices. And with Huawei, we've upgraded and moved into the next generation of the PCRF, which is connected right there to the core, to the GGSN, right? So as the 5G rolls out and evolves, those services that roll across it, IT will have already made those changes. So I think in many ways, IT needs to kind of work very hand in hand with the network. We do it at Telkomsel, and in some cases, a lot of what we're doing, we can just accelerate our roadmaps to be more ready for 5G.
Okay, and does that encompass a greater opportunity with IoT business possibilities as well?
Sure, with the IoT, we need to, in IT, do a number of things. One, we need to be able to have the network, integration to the network to be able to take a much larger volume of, microtransactions coming across. Mm-hmm. I think we've also beefed up our data architecture, so our data lakes and things like that to take in a large volume. I think that the thing that we have at Telkomsel, we already deal with such large volumes of data a day, right? In this microservices prepaid market, with 180 million subscribers, we get, billions of transactions a day coming in, right? So in many cases, our IT is already at that 5.9 OLTP level. So for IoT, sure, it'll be even more volume for it, but I think we're well positioned because that was one of the big movements for our PCRF is to move it into the next generation of that, but also a lot of our channel infrastructure, recharge, and all of that is to deal with the fact that IoT will bring even greater volume.
Okay, excellent. Well, it sounds like a fascinating transformation. Look forward to hearing about how it's developing in 2019 as
Great,
well.
thank you very much for the time. The transformation for us is extremely important for us. It still positions us to be the leader in the Indonesian market and be that gateway to the digital world for us. So thank you very much for your time.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much.